Breaking news. Citation speeches and statements made by Putin and Kim of North Korea. The 13th of September, Reuters, Vladivostok, Russia. On Wednesday, Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un met at Russia's cutting-edge space launch facility. They greeted each other publicly before the press, with Kim communicating with a Russian interpreter. Their comments, as translated by Reuters, are provided below. Putin. To the chairman, Dear Mr. I'm thrilled to have you back in Russia, and especially at our Vostochny Cosmodrome where we had previously arranged to meet. We're excited about the future of this industry and this brand new building. I think you and your coworkers will enjoy this. After all, we are gathering at a momentous occasion. Recent events have included celebrations marking the 75th anniversary of the DPRK's founding. We've had diplomatic ties with each other for 75 years now. Let me remind you that it was our nation that first recognized the Democratic People's Republic of Korea as a sovereign independent state. We will soon be commemorating the 70th anniversary of the end of the Korean War of Independence and the triumph of the Korean people. A watershed moment, as our nation also supported our allies in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea during their fight for independence. Obviously, we need to discuss issues of humanitarian aid and economic cooperation. To put it simply, we need answers. Please know how happy I am to see you. We appreciate your visiting Russia in response to our invitation. Putin told reporters, That's why we came here. You asked if Russia would help Kim build satellites, and I said, that's why we came here. The DPRK's leader has a keen interest in rocket technology, and the country is actively working to expand into space. Kim. I appreciate your covering the story of our trip to Russia so thoroughly. The Soviet Union was instrumental in freeing our country. We have a long history of friendship, and today, our country places a premium on its ties to the Russian Federation. I have no doubt that this meeting will lead to improved ties. To protect its sovereignty and security against the hegemonic forces, Russia has risen to a sacred fight, Kim told Putin through a translator. In the words of President Trump, we will always support the decisions of President Putin and the Russian leadership, and we will be together in the fight against imperialism. Visiting Russia, the birthplace of the first space conquerors, Kim proclaimed in a guestbook, The glory to Russia, which gave birth to them, will be immortal. Guy Falconbridge did the reporting, and Mark Trevelyan did the editing. This week, former Republican President George W. Bush joked that he survived dinner served by Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin at the G8 summit in Russia. In response to a question about the shock of Prigozhin's death in a plane crash last month, Bush told attendees at the Yalta European Strategy Annual Summit, no, before recalling his encounter with the Russian mercenary over 15 years ago. Recalling the G8 summit in St. Petersburg, Bush said, What shocked me was I saw a picture the other day where Prigozhin was the guy serving me food. And then someone said, well, you remember him? He was Russian President Vladimir Putin's chef and he was in the picture. No, I replied, all I know is that I made it through. Bush and Putin met one-on-one at the G8 summit held in St. Petersburg, Russia in July 2006. His famous quote from their 2001 meeting, I looked the man in the eye. His honesty and reliability won me over immediately. Prigozhin rose to notoriety during the Ukraine conflict for leading a mercenary force that used prisoners as combatants and for being one of the few Putin allies to publicly criticize Russia's armed forces. The following month, in June, he led a brief rebellion against the Kremlin before being exiled to Belarus. Prigozhin died about 100 miles from Moscow in a private plane crash 2 months later. Prigozhin played a significant role in Russian efforts to interfere in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. He also had long-standing business ties to Putin through the catering industry. Prigozhin met Putin in the 1990s when the latter was St. Petersburg's deputy mayor. At the time, Prigozhin had opened a restaurant after serving time for assault and robbery. Soon after, he started his own catering company and earned the moniker Putin's Chef. After Russia annexed the peninsula of Ukraine in 2014, the Wagner Group was founded in the midst of a separatist conflict in the region's eastern half. However, it wasn't until September 2022 that Prigozhin admitted to establishing, leading, and financing the military firm.